right, folks, we've got our tomatoes ready. I'm about to make some breakfast. This is just a basic loaf I made with this healthy flour here. And it's pretty good. I'm gonna try to make sourdough out of this because sourdough is definitely the winner. And on that note, we're making sourdough bread. I make 2 loaves at a time because it's very popular. And even though Tom and Merritt are gone, I think maybe it'll last more than 2 days, who knows. But this is the sourdough starter. This one, the lighter one, made with healthy but not ancient grain flour. This is whole wheat flour starter. I've not made bread from this one, but this is the starter I started. This one I borrowed. But this is starter and water. And step 1 of sourdough making, like I said, if you've watched past videos, sourdough making is very tricky. So you basically mix these things together until, you get the sourdough. It's a little blurry until you get the starter real milky, well combined. Yeah, we're getting it. It's a good starter. It rose overnight. So that's 735 grams of water and 250 grams of starter. This is for 2 sourdough loaves. Now you put it on your scale, zero it out, and I am today using unbleached all-purpose flour. This is something I've used before. I'm trying to get better and better flour. I do have the organic version of this, which I do love. And then I also have a, what am I thinking? A different brand, I guess. I'm trying to think of what it is. Let me look. Unbleached bread flour. I have not tried this one yet, but I hear bread flour has a little bit more protein, which makes for a little bit better bread. And then I have not tried this brand, but this is my organic all-purpose unbleached flour. We'll give that a go as well. But I'm really trying to move into the ancient grain flours. They're just different, and I have not yet learned how to sourdough with the ancient grains. See if I could do this with one hand. We're just adding 1,000 grams. Oh geez. Turns out I can't do it one-handed. 1,000 grams of flour. It's a lot of flour. It's a good chunk of the bag, that's for sure. But 2 loaves, remember. And then we're just gonna hand combine this, and then you let it sit covered. I put a plate over it for about 2 hours. That's step 1. All right, so now that it has congealed a bit, I'm gonna get out my handy dandy scale, and we're gonna add the salt. So you put this on here, and then you turn it on. You wanna make sure it's on grams, and it'll measure it to 0. So now I can add the salt, and it'll be 24 grams of salt. Okay, the key is to have a wet hand when you pinch in the salt, because this is very sticky dough. It's still gonna stick to me a little bit, but at least I start with not a terrible sticky situation. So once you do this, then you kind of spend a couple of minutes stretching and folding the dough. So you kind of stretch it out and fold it over. Take another piece, stretch it out and fold it over. Turn it, stretch it out and fold. So not kneading, but stretching and folding for about 3 minutes. Okay, you can see it's like a lot tougher now. I also want to just remind everybody I am a novice and not an expert. This is just what I've been doing, and there's an argument about whether or not to use metal with sourdough. I probably should use glass. I've used metal before. It doesn't seem to matter, but I think an expert would tell you to use glass. So now we're gonna let it rest covered again with a plate for 2 hours. Okay, it's been 2 hours. This one is particularly bubbly, which perhaps it's a little bit warmer in the house today because it's not quite, or cooler. It's not quite as warm outside. Either way, now we're gonna shape it, which is the hardest part, and I'm not very good at it. Wet hands again when messing with the dough because it's very sticky dough. And my counter's clean. And remember, this is 2 loaves, so this is a lot of dough. You just kind of scrape it out. I do have a bread scraper, but I don't find that it is better than my hands. So you pull it all out, and then this is a sourdough tool. You just kind of separate it. Like I said, it's very, very sticky.
You should get the tool wet.
I should. Ugh. Doesn't want to separate, huh, Gage? There we go.
What did you ask me? What did you say that to me?
Oh, sorry. So set that aside for a second, and let's work with this bad boy. So, you want to kind of, again, I'm not good at this part. This part is awful, actually. It's extra sticky. You kind of spread it out. Then you take one side, you fold it in. And the other side, there's a stool there. And fold it in. Gager, go get the stool.
Why?
For sis. Then you kind of roll it up. Let me re-wet my hands here.
Here. Hands.
Roll it up on itself. Whoever is a sourdough expert is going to completely laugh at this completely funny way of doing it. And then you shape it. And this is just, you kind of push it.
It looks so smooth.
It is not.
Well, like when you push it back.
You're trying to create some tension in the dough. So it's just I'm just kind of pushing it under.
It's just coming right back out.
I know, it is. It's not. Let me get some more. It's actually, I usually have like a little bowl of water here to keep wetting my hands. But I just keep tucking it, kind of giving it a squeeze and a tuck. And you're making it as much as you can into a ball. There are other ways to shape that are way more professional. I'm actually losing some of my tension now for whatever reason. So once you get it, we're gonna do this shaping thing again. We kind of let it sit on the counter for 20 minutes. And you can also use this tool to shape. It would be helpful if it was
Why don't you
wet
just go get it wet?
or clean even. I lost some of my tension in that dough, but I'm gonna leave it like that for a few.
Okay. Now let's call.
Okay, then you do the same. Can you move a little bit to the second one? I forget. You want to be pretty delicate as much as you can be. I forget the fancy way to shape. Something like you fold it up like a taco. That's not really like a taco. And then you pull this side and this side and this side and this side. And then you kind of stitch it. Again, this is a complete unexpert method of doing it.
It looks kind of more tensiony.
It does add the tension to it. I'm breaking it a little bit. Oh!
That one looks good.
It does, but
Yeah, the
it's
one's
gonna
kinda
flatten
patty.
out. So once you do the shaping,
Yeah, it's already flattening out.
right, but that's okay because we're gonna shape it again, but we'll see which one turns out a little bit better.
I
So
think it's
20 minutes, they just rest here on the counter.